So in today's video, I'm gonna share how I overcame being a people pleaser and, caring a little bit too much about what other people thought about me, and, instead of being myself and, doing what I wanted to do. So, I've been posting on YouTube and Instagram for about, 1.5, 2 years now, trying to motivate people to become, the best version of themselves by, getting their fitness better, their health, their habits, their mindset, all these things, right? And, I'm also in the Army, I'm also in the military. I joined, like shortly after I made my social media thing. And, I've been getting a lot of hate recently on my social media whenever I post in uniform, talking about my viewpoints, my thoughts, and that kind of stuff. And I learned a couple of things, right? The first thing I learned is that it's actually very freeing when you get like hate. I always thought that if people didn't like me, man, like my life is over. Like it's like that's it, man. You're gonna be a social outcast. You're out of my closet and all these things, right? But what actually happened was that I felt more freeing because I don't have that weight on my shoulder anymore of oh man, what is this guy gonna think? What are they gonna think about me? Of all these things, right? And I can actually like be myself now. It's like when the worst case happens and you're still kicking, then you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. I think a lot of times people play a what if scenario in their head, and they're in their head too much to think about what other people think. And a lot of times other people are not thinking about you, and even if they are thinking about you, who gives a fuck? Like everyone's gonna die one day. You have one life. Why do you care so much about some other person's possible thought about you instead of like you living your own life, you living the life you want to live, right? I remember, I used to, in school and stuff, I was never like a super outgoing kid. I was never like a super social butterfly, Mr. Popular or anything. I was a bit more shy, an introvert, and I had a small group of friends that I was tight with, but I wasn't like, the most confident person socially. And a big reason for that is because I guess subconsciously like care too much about what people think about me, what people thought, what girls thought, what other guys might have thought. And I also never grew up using social media because of this reason exactly. In high school and college, I never had an Instagram, I never had a YouTube, barely was on Facebook. Because I was so afraid of posting, what I thought was a boring ass, loser life online. And I was afraid what people would have thought about me. I kept comparing myself to other people, and just I guess I had this just limited mindset that if everybody loved me, then my life was gonna be great, and if one person didn't like me, then that was a problem. That I needed everybody to like me, and it was a very toxic belief. I feel like a lot of people are stuck in this belief to this day. I'm not saying I overcame it completely, but I definitely give less of a fuck now than I did, a few years ago. And whether it be at work where you have a coworker, you have coworkers around you, or you got a boss, or you're in a social friend group. Maybe you're trying to lose weight, right? And your friends and stuff, they're all like fucking fat asses, lazy fucks, undisciplined motherfuckers, fucking losers basically. And you actually want to change. You actually want to improve your life, improve your health, improve your future. But you're in this environment with these social circles where everybody's trying to keep you down. They don't want to see you succeed. They're going to poke jokes at you. They make fun of you, passive aggressive comments, this and that, right? And it's not a reflection of you, when this happens. You got to remember this. Hate and all these things is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of these fucking losers, right? They got nothing going on in their life. Whenever they see someone in their circle, climbing out, trying to level up, it makes them reflect on their lack of fucking, success. It makes them reflect on, their shortcomings. And, these guys got some fragile ass egos, They think they're the shit. They think they're shit, and then they see somebody like fucking climbing up, and they're like, fuck, man, like this guy's leveling up, and I'm still here. Like they have this fucking like self-defense mechanism almost that I think is kind of natural to try to like bring the other guy down to make them feel like, okay, I'm all right. I wasn't that bad, but they are fucking that bad. They haven't been doing jack shit. They are a fucking loser. They are fat as fuck. I know my language is kind of like intense right now, but like this is honestly like how I feel whenever I see like these comments online, like people hating on my grind, or like if you're on working towards your goals and you got some dumbass commenting or making jokes about you and stuff like that, it's fucking disrespectful, man. Like that's how I feel. And if you're dealing with this in your life, understand that means you're on the right path, all right? Because if you're gonna try to become the best version of yourself, you're trying to get in great shape, become strong as fuck, become rich, become super successful in any area you're trying to do, there's gonna be some stupid loser or multiple stupid losers trying to comment on you, like trying to bring you down. They're gonna say you're doing something wrong, this is not you, that like what do you think you do, who you think you are, and stuff like that. There are gonna be these guys doing this, right? And like don't get discouraged though, because this is part of the process. This is part, like standing out, that's what standing out is. You're gonna stand out, all right? You're not trying to fit in with these fucking average motherfuckers, all right? You're not trying to remain where you are right now. You're trying to literally get the fuck out of there, right? Like I was never, I never grew up in a ghetto or anything like that. I never really, I know guys that have grown up in these environments and stuff like that. But like if you did grow up in one of these environments, right, in a poor place where there's just chaos going around you and stuff like that, and you're trying to improve yourself, and one of these guys trying to bring you back down, like, what are you gonna do? Like agree with him and stay there, or are you gonna like get the fuck out of there? You're gonna take what's yours and go after it, because at the end of this day, right? At the end of this day, when you're on your deathbed, right, and you look back at yourself, what do you wanna? What kind of life do you want to live, right? A life that just like you're kind of just keeping yourself small, keeping yourself, from like walking on eggshells. You're trying to like, everybody all right? Fucking like, yeah. What do you want people to say about you? Yeah, he was an all right guy. He's a fucking doormat. He's fucking nice. Like, or you want someone to say, man, that motherfucker was different. That motherfucker, he kind of was different. He did something fucking, he's fucking crazy, and he fucking went after. He didn't give a fuck. Like. If you're like, that's why I think that, like, this is kind of a tangent, but like that's why I think that every guy that's like struggling with getting a chick should do like Code Approach. All right. This is kind of a tangent, but like I always struggled with talking to girls growing up. I had super bad, like, low confidence and this and that, right? Whenever I was around a girl in school, in high school or something, college, and like I kind of liked her, like I would never like have shown interest because I was afraid of rejection, basically. And this obviously was not good, was not attractive for the girl, and I didn't get any pussy or anything like that. And then like like I started doing this thing called Code Approach, later on in life, and what I found out about this from reading some article online or something, and seeing some guys on YouTube doing it. I was like, man, fuck it, let me try that shit. And then I tried it, and fuck, man, it hurt like fuck. Like I kept getting rejected. It was super cringe to not just other people, but for myself. And I thought about it. I replayed the interaction in my mind. It was super cringe, but it was super freeing though, because after the interaction, as bad as it was, as cringe, as crazy as the rejection was, like the weight was off my shoulder. Yeah, they don't like me, fuck it. Yeah, they think I'm fucking weird. Yeah, they think I'm fucking awkward. Yeah, I look stupid. Once you face your fucking fears, you face your insecurities, and the worst thing that has occurred, and you're still standing there, you realize like this world is bigger than you previously thought, right? You can do more than you previously thought, and all your fears and stuff like that, they're holding you captive in this current like limited like level where you are. To break out of these things, you need to go beyond your comfort zone. It's going to be uncomfortable, right? It's going to be uncomfortable getting in shape if you've always been fat. It's going to be uncomfortable waking up early if you've been sleeping in. It's going to be uncomfortable, working more, trying to get more money when you've been struggling to just keep a part-time job. All these things like are going to be uncomfortable for you, and you're going to see people supporting you, but you're going to see a lot of people not supporting you. A lot of people are going to be hating on you, especially when you make them reflect on their own fucking shitty ass situation, you know. But it's super freeing though, you know, whether it is having a hard conversation. That's also another thing, you know. There's so many instances, you know, in my past jobs, sometimes in my current job, where I have to call out somebody for disrespecting me, you know, sometimes in a higher position, my fucking boss. I remember this one time I was working at this job at like a fucking paint store or something, and you know, my boss was just like, you know, he was vaping, you know, right in front of my face, and we were in a small closed office where he was trying to teach me something. He's just vaping, puffing smoke in my face. I found it disrespectful, you know, like fucking vaping at work in general, but puffing it in my face and stuff. I fucking don't smoke shit, and like I told him like, hey man, like the vape, like don't do that, you know, I don't like it. And it kind of caught him off guard too. He was like what? And I, like, you know, him being my boss, he's like, you know, and he's like, all right, well, he's like, well, I kind of like, you know, the vape, you know, so if you could just step outside while I just finish it. So I stepped outside while his fucking loser fat ass finished that vape, quit that job a month later and joined the army. But, you know, like, you have to stand up for yourself sometimes though, right? You're going to have to face your fears. Confronting people is not something I love to do. I'm not like a guy that, you know, wants to like fucking start shit with anybody. But there's a line in your life that you need to fucking pay attention to, and when motherfuckers step over, you need to say something, all right? And like, forget about being liked in that situation, man. Like, they're not gonna like you. Some people are never gonna like you no matter what you do, even if they pretend to like you, all right? You can be the ultimate people pleaser, ultimate nice guy. You can try to cater to everybody in every situation. And then they'll still fucking think you're a fucking weirdo. You're fucking weird. They're not gonna vibe with you. You know, they're still gonna like kind of like give you the stink eye behind your back, talk shit about you. All right, because like everybody in this world is different. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. No one's gonna be like the guy that everybody loves. You know, so you might as well be yourself. All right, attract the people that you know are truly like, you know, they vibe well with you. Because if you always like hide your own personality, your own interests, your own beliefs out of fear of what other people think, like that uniqueness in you, the world would never see. You know, your friends, your potential, you might meet some people, like, you know, you might miss opportunities because of hiding yourself. You know, like your love of your life may miss it because you're too afraid to show who you are. You know, like guys might think that, you know, you're just another random normal like fucking like NPC character because you're acting like everybody else instead of being yourself. You need to, you know, everybody, there's so much people in this world. Everybody has got their own DNA, their own upbringing, their own situation, genetics, whatever, that makes them unique, right? There will never be another person like you in this world ever before. There never has been another person in this world that's just like you before, you know? Like, in this point in time, you are one of a kind. So it makes no sense to play small, to think small, and to fucking like to tolerate any disrespect. And you know, when people hate on you and stuff like that, you should take it as a good thing, man. Put that chip on your shoulder, use it to motivate you to keep leveling up in life. All right, that's how I see everything. It's like motivation, okay? And yeah, you'll realize once you face your fears of rejection, of critique, of hating, of people hating on you, of being disliked. Like, I'm not telling you to go out and be an asshole now. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you be true to yourself. If you're truly an asshole, then man, I can't help you, man. But if you're someone that's like, you're genuine, you're trying to help people, and some people just don't like it, man, fuck those motherfuckers. Okay? Like you be the man you want to be, and let the cards fall where they may. Okay? Because that's all you can do in this life. And once you embrace that this fact, you know, I feel like you're gonna see like life is a lot more freeing. You're gonna be able to speak your thoughts more clearly. You're not gonna give a fuck about how you walk, how you dress, how you talk, and you know, you're gonna start looking in the mirror, respecting the man that you see back at you.